Hello again, everyone. This is Esther, live from Zen Rocks, Manny. And thank you so much, Verena and Marcela, for the most recent session that we had with the 4 directions. So we feel that this honoring and this blessing has been made. We had some great talks with Brother Phap on de-domestication. And part of that is connecting with our bodies and our breath. So this will be a very short session. You can either do it if you have a mat, you don't even need a yoga mat. If you have a chair, you're also welcome to do this seated. Most of this will be with the breath and just some subtle movements to feel around the joints, around the fingers, our ankles, things like this. So let's first just take a moment to breathe. We can start with the exhale. You exhale all the air out. And then you can take an inhale through the nose and exhale. You can even place your palms on your belly and your abdomen and actually feel the belly inflate. And then as you exhale, it'll kind of deflate. We'll do that again. And for those of you that are joining right now, you can join at any moment. You can even close your eyes or just have a very soft gaze. So perhaps you're even looking at a device. No need to watch. You can just move away from the device. And as long as you can hear what I'm saying, you'll be able to move with me as well. So let's just kind of shake the right arm or whichever arm. This will be an embodied practice for, of course, a certain ability like myself. But again, if you're seated, you're welcome to do it. And you can switch, or you can continue to do the same hand. Some of us are also, very often on our devices. So it's nice to kind of release some of these joints. Thank you for those of you that are joining in the room as well. Very good. And from here, we're going to start to work with the arms. This is a nice little movement to do, especially in the mornings. So for some of you, it may be morning. For others of you, it's in the afternoon. But no matter what day it is or whatever time of day it is, you can begin to kind of move side to side. And the arms actually begin to press into the body to stimulate the various organs, the colon, the pancreas. And if you can, perhaps even move your head a bit side to side. And just get used to the space that you're in. It could be you may be in an office, you may be at home, or perhaps you're even outside. But wherever you are, find some space. And then you can release the arms a bit, maybe put your hands on your hips and just start to kind of move the toes a little bit. So again, same thing, we walk off all the time. Many of us have this ability, but we don't really take that much time to kind of give those moments for the toes and the joints to get some release. And as you're doing, notice if you're holding your breath. So sometimes even I do that. I'm like, I hold my breath while I do these things, especially when it comes to balancing. So you can switch side to side, or you can do the same. If you would like to work on some balancing and some joint movements, you can start to use your ankles. If you need, you can hold the knee or the shin. That way we just go in one direction and then you can go in another direction. This gentle movement. Also connecting with the breath. You can switch or you can do the same side. And so you go in one direction, you can go even slower. And as you go slow, you can really feel that rotation. If you do one direction, you can do the other. Very nice. And then you can release. And from here, your feet can be slightly apart. We're just going to reach the arms up. And as if you're kind of reaching for the sky, you're going to lengthen. If you do so, you can do it with a breath in. And then you can exhale, you kind of just drop the arms, bend the knees, maybe even move with the head rest side to side. You can also do this seated. So I'll show you on a chair, or you can do it standing. Again, you inhale, you reach up. You can even look up, and on the exhale, you just drop. Yeah, hinging at the hips. Let the arms be heavy, head be heavy. And just kind of moving. This gentle practice, especially for those of you that are joining us for back-to-back sessions, it's nice to get up out of the chair once in a while. And again, we'll do this, but this time we'll move to the side. So you can bring the arms up, interlace, press into the feet. You can bend the knees slightly or keep them extended. And you reach towards that sky that's past that room if you're inside. And then you exhale. It doesn't matter. Any direction is fine. I'm going on the right side. And then you come back up. You inhale. And then on the exhale, you can stretch and just find this deep side body stretch. Yeah. Again, let's do it together. We go up all the way. And on the exhale, we're going to work a bit on holding this, not the breath, but the body, to give a little bit of strength to that center, that core of our body, this torso. So we're going to inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to hold only as long as you can. So I'll count for a count of 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and 1. We come all the way up. You can do the same side. Perhaps that side really needs a lot of extra stretching, or you can move to the other side. So we inhale, we lengthen with the breath, and on the exhale, we side bend. Yeah. And again, if you're on a chair, you can still find some ways to do this. And you feel that weight of your 2 feet on the earth. And with that connection, we have that feeling of safety. And even if we're doing something that's not particularly in our day-to-day movement. And inhale, we come all the way up. And we'll do the opposite now. We're actually going to shake the arms out a little bit. And you can reach behind. So I'm going to turn this, actually, let me turn this way. And you're going to interlace your hands. Some of us have very tight pecs and shoulders, especially kind of doing this rounded movement. So if it's hard or difficult to extend the elbows, that's okay. You can keep them bent. For others, perhaps you can start to extend the elbows. Yeah. We have a tendency to drop our head down and look down. See if you can just kind of lift the gaze. Yeah. And you can try to move the fist away from the body. You can have a slight bend in the knees. And from here, we're going to bend the knees a lot and even bring our chest and our body to rest. I let the head drop a little bit and see if I can bring my fist over the head just a bit. Yeah. So of course I do more often these stretches. So I may go a little bit further. That's okay. Oh, and I'm getting some love. Perhaps you also have a cat or a dog. And then from here, we're going to come all the way back up. And I'm going to come and even show it on the chair. Yeah. So on the chair, we can do something similar. You interlace your hands. And this way, it's quite restorative in the sense that I'm not putting a lot of effort in my legs, but I'm still getting that stretch in the front of that body, my arms. Again, if you need to open the palms, you can open the palms. If your elbows are bent, that's all welcome. Yeah, we work with where our body is today, and perhaps over time, it'll be able to do other things. And then we can slowly come up and release. And again, just placing our feet on the earth, whether you're seated or you're standing. And we're going to just start to inhale with the breath up. And again, on the exhale, we'll bend the knees and we drop our head down, maybe even touch the earth a little bit. And then inhale, you reach the arms up, you lengthen, go as tall as you can, extend the elbows and the legs if you can, and bend the knees and you just drop. Maybe you touch the floor. Some of you can begin to extend the legs. Yeah. If this is a lot, you can keep the knees bent. Some of you, maybe you hold opposite elbows. And others of you can extend the legs. Yeah. So it's just different forms of sensation on the back of the body. And if you can remember, just try to notice your breath and any sensations that you feel, either maybe in the back of the calves or the hamstrings, yeah, or maybe even the feeling of the blood rushing to the crown of our head. So these are, again, just kind of changing our perspective through these talks and also through movement. You can bend the knees, release the arms, and just slowly start to unwind. Very good. So from here, we'll go to more of a seated position. So again, you can do this either on the chair, if it's a little bit harder to reach the floor, or some of you can join me on either a mat or just maybe a rug or some carpet. We're going to bend the knee into the chest. Again, any leg is fine. You drop the knee to the floor, and you can try to bring the foot to touch the inner thigh, but no need. The idea is that we're just looking to fold over the leg. Yeah? If you would like to place your palms in a specific place, you can perhaps bring your hands to your shin or your ankle, or maybe even further. Yeah? But from here, you can also just rest the palms. Yeah? The idea is that, again, we feel any sensation that may feel like a stretch, or maybe there's a tightness. And the idea is that we're just with that feeling, the sensation that we feel in the body, and also the connection that we have to that support underneath us, which is the earth, which is the mat, which is whatever floor is your floor today. And whenever you're ready, we can switch. Yeah. So, or you can also do the same side. You bring the knee in, you lower it down, and whenever you're ready, you can begin to just have a gentle fold over the leg. Now, again, the intensity of the stretch is really your choice, and that's the beauty of these practices, that you can choose. And for some of us, like me, I can stretch a little bit further, but for today, I'm going to take it a little bit easy. I'm just going to hold the shin. Again, coming to my breath, inhaling, and maybe even lengthening the exhale a little bit longer. So we breathe in, we breathe out. And as we do so, we just begin to perhaps feel a release in the body, perhaps a release in the mind, and in that breath, that release of that control, that constriction. And then you can slowly come up. And we'll switch. And now we actually will do both legs extended. Yeah. So this is traditionally called like a seated forward fold, or in yoga asana, it's a Paschimottanasana. So tan means to stretch. Yeah. So it's a stretching that's happening. So of course we feel it in the body. You can sit up tall, and perhaps this is already enough. This is already, some of us could feel a stretch. If this is very tight, you can always place something to sit on. Others of you can start to begin to maybe release a little bit forward. You can have a slight bend in the knee or extend the legs. Again, these are just options that I'm sharing with you today as a gentle embodied practice, and really as a way to connect to our breath, our connection between our breath and our body. And with that connection to the breath and the body, these are these very unassuming practices that even Brother Phap had mentioned, that as we do them, we can be mindful. So we become aware of the habits that we create in our own lives through these very small actions. And then now I'm going to come to face you. I'm going to bend the knees, and there's a couple ways to sit. You can cross leg. Yeah. If this is very difficult, feel free to just continue with the legs extended. And there's another one where you can begin to just bring the feet together. Yeah. It doesn't have to be close all the way. You can begin to just gently maybe massage the feet. Yeah, so these feet that work so hard for us, and we often don't even realize it until a long day. And like today, I don't know what time, it's almost 6 o'clock over here in Greece, and we've been running around trying to make sure that, all of this can be shared with you all. And so we're just giving a little bit of love to the toes, to the bottoms of our feet, all the while just connecting with that breath that we have, that inhale, and of course that exhale. If you would like, you could begin to fold forward a little bit. And in this forward fold, again, you might feel some sensations in the back of the body. It only goes as far as you would like. If others of you have it in you, you can also bring it a little bit closer. But if you notice your knees are really high, it's okay to just keep them extended. And folding over all of these are just options. They're optional. Yeah? Let's take a couple breaths together here. Inhaling We exhale. You can even open your mouth. We can sigh it out. Ah. Let's do that again. Breathing in and exhaling. Ah. Let's do 2 more like that. Inhale, sit up. And exhale. Ah. Last one together. We breathe in. And has a very nice way of, at the end, kind of lifting the corners of our mouth for a slight, gentle smile. From here, you can bring the knees together. Begin to extend the legs, shake them out. So I'm not going to ignore it. What did Brother Phap earlier say? We don't ignore what's happening. And so we just kind of accept what's happening. And so part of this is that we don't ignore what's happening, right? So I'm breathing in while he bites my hand and I breathe out. Okay. So from here, we're going to come to a standing position one more time, just as a way to close. And so before we move on to the next session, which will be happening in about 10 or so movements, 10 or so, I'll have to do 10 movements, 10 or so minutes, the next talk will be with Rupert Spira. So please stay with us. We'll do a couple more movements. Let's just do like a couple balancing. So you can try to do what is called a tree, like standing like a tree. And so you can bring one foot perhaps to the ankle. If you would like to play with your arms, you can keep your hands here on the hips or maybe even palms together. It's just kind of a way to connect different parts of our body. And for others of you, if you would like to, you can start to bring the foot up a little bit higher. A couple of options are at the very high root of the thigh. Again, it doesn't matter which side you're standing on. And maybe you fall out, it's okay. Yeah, if you fall out, you just come back in. Very good. So we'll just, again, the focus here is really maintaining that steady composure of the breath. And I really feel all the sensations on this one standing leg. And so we have these 2 legs in our bodies, some of us, of course. And for those of us that do have 2 legs, 2 sets of knees, 2 ankles, 2 feet, it gets to bear the weight is on 2 instead of just 1. And so we begin to recognize that as well. And whenever you're ready, you can switch or do the same side. I'm going to switch and I'm going to move to another position. And for this one, I'm going to keep my hands on my belly and my heart and really connect with my breath. Really feeling the breath enter my body. And I know it's entering. Of course, I'm speaking because my body is inflating. There's something that's happening from the outer to the inner. And so there is that no sense of separation from the outer world to that inner space. And then we can switch. And we'll do one more balancing. So we're going to bend the knees and you can just bring one leg over. Again, you could even do this seated. So I'll show you seated. You lift one leg and you cross it. And either you stay here, you can actually even bind again. Or if you're standing and you're going to do a little bit more of the balancing, you're going to soften one knee. You bring the leg over and you can stay here. This is Garudasana. Garudasana, that means eagle, and seat. Asana is seat in the yoga tradition. Or you can take a double bind. And then from here, if you would like, hands at the hips, hands at the heart and belly, prayer palms. There's many ways for us to come and this is really challenging me to stay in my balance. And this is life, yeah? Sometimes we just have to find that balance. And it's okay if we fall out. So I'm going to switch. I'm going to do the other side. And let's do the other side. I'll raise my leg. I'm softening one side. I bring the foot down. And that way I have a little bit more steadiness. And Kiku really wants to challenge me so that I'm really firmly planted. Yeah. And I'm going to just bring my hands to my hips. And I'm going to bring up a smile. I'm going to enjoy this breath. And I'm going to enjoy the exhale. Oh, Okay, well, oh, and then we release. Okay, let's take that out. All right, let's take a couple breaths just on our 2 feet. So after doing some balancing, it's nice to feel that grounded. Perhaps we even take a bit of a walk. We can take a few steps, kind of reorient ourselves. I've been facing forward, but we have this beautiful view of the Mediterranean Sea, which is really a gift to be here. So I hope at some point, maybe some of you can join us here live. After walking around, taking a few mindful steps, you can just ground into the earth, pressing the feet down. Again, if you're seated, you can do the same as well. Arms alongside the body. You can close your eyes or just have a soft gaze. And for this one, we're focusing on the breath. The breath meaning the entire movement from the inhalation and that sensation at the tip of the nose as it enters, and the way it just cools, the breath cools down as it enters. And we can travel with it all the way up towards the top of our head. And perhaps it's already starting to go down, going through the back of the throat and all the way expressed into our lungs. Now that is one long in-breath. If you've been having an in-breath and exhale, that's okay. On the exhale, we can also begin to feel that similar sensation. We exhale the breath. And so we feel the breath actually moving inside of our body. And then it also exits. And so we make that connection to body and breath from the external world to this inner. And there's that sense of separation that starts to slowly disintegrate. So the more we begin to focus on our breath, focus on the sensations in our body, there is the sense that there's not much separating us, this present human form, and the element of air. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that was helpful for you in the middle of the day or the beginning of the day or towards the end of the day. As I mentioned, we still have a couple more speakers lined up for today. The next one is of Rupert Spira and Kristoffer Haug. And it's a conversation. I highly recommend it, as I do, joining us for the next 4 days. And what else? Oh, if you have any questions, you're welcome to contact us on our Facebook, Zen Rocks Manny, and also on our Instagram, Zen Rocks Manny. And of course, you can also, it's also in the chat. Thank you so much to the tech team. Thank you, everyone. Connect with your breath, connecting with one another, and I bow as a goodbye for now.